Now, Good Morning Washington, on your side.
Thank you. Now, while many are experiencing quarantine fatigue after months inside, others are feeling heightened levels of anxiety about going back out into public. And joining us this morning on this Mental Health Awareness Month with how you can address the fear is Dr. Elena Villanueva, the founder of Modern Holistic Health. And it is good to talk to you today, doctor. So many people find themselves not only practicing social distancing during this time, but also self-isolating. Now, is there a difference between those two things? And if so, what is it?
Well, when we have to pull ourselves away, actually can cause some issues with social isolation. We've actually had several people coming to us telling us that during this time where they've had to, socially isolate, that they actually are starting to feel very disconnected from their community and very disconnected from their family and friends. And it's starting to give them a lot of anxiety and kind of, take them in the direction of depression. And so we just want to be, really careful to make sure that we reach out to our friends and family, even during this time where we're supposed to be social isolating.
Right. And we're seeing those restrictions that are starting to ease in many states. And how can social distancing lead to social anxiety as those restrictions start to ease?
Well, because we have, that's such a great question. Because we have been social isolating for almost now, that definitely can cause a little bit of anxiety for some people when it's time to go back out. And, as we see these restrictions lifted. And, I think it's just really important to remember that getting outside actually helps to strengthen your immune system. Getting some sun and some vitamin D really can help strengthen your immune system. Vitamin D is known to prevent viral replication. In fact, I was just reading an article before I jumped on this morning that was just published. It was showing up on PubMed and the National Institute of Health, talking about how these measures of prevention that we feel are just not being put out there enough can really, really help. And so, if you're having anxiety, just walk through it, step outside, get some fresh air, and taking action in the face of, feeling that anxiety is really going to help you to feel better.
I definitely feel better when I walk outside. It just brightens my spirit immediately. But some people are worried about taking that step outside their door. And even if they're outside, they're worried about catching the virus. So what would you say to a person like that?
It's perfectly normal to feel anxiety when we know that, if we were to get very, very ill with this virus, there's been some grim outcomes with this. But the good news is that understanding, now that we actually have some information on what's going on with this virus and understanding that the death rate is, 0.1%, and that it's not, in fact, what we all thought it was going to be in the beginning, should really help people to put it into perspective, because that's about the same as what you see with the flu on an average year.
Well, that's a really good point. We're all under a lot of stress going through this virus together. Would you say this is a good time to sort of reassess our mental health and take stock of where we are?
Absolutely. Mental health has been on the rise for several years now. In fact, it's really gotten out of control. And with the recent onset of all of these events, it's really taken a lot of people over the edge with their anxiety and their depression. And, the best recommendation that we can give is reach out. Don't stay isolated. A lot of anxiety or you're feeling depression, reach out to others and talk to them and get some help. Also, integrate some self-care things that you can do that can really, really help boost your overall mental health, like going outside, like we talked about, outside and get some sun. Get a little bit of exercise and eat really, really healthy. There are certain foods that can actually cause a lot of inflammation in your body and your brain that can trigger anxiety. So self-care and prevention is going to be the number one thing that you can do. And then reach out to your local therapist, or reach out to your family so that you can start talking through your feelings so that you can figure out what's getting at the root, what's getting at the root of that, and you can address it from its root cause.
Some great tips there. Thank you so much, Dr. Elena Villanueva, the founder of Modern Holistic Health.